Alright. Some of my recent experiences uploading directly from YouTube have included the video disappearing. I didn't want to talk for 10 minutes and then have to do it again. So we were just talking about regular sevenths and flat sevenths. So, you know, if you look at a C7 chord, there it is. Or if you do it this way, there it is. So C major 7, C7. C7 flat 5. Just for the sake of argument, you know. Cool. So then let's talk about some types of seventh chords that we learned today. Group 1, ninth chords. First of all, there's a chord just called, I think we're using D when we did it, D9. And it's a chord that we much more frequently phrase from the 5th string down. There's a way to do it up here, but it's just harder, significantly harder. Like the major 7 chord is harder to do up on these strings, so we mostly use that. Discussing ninth chords now, though. There it is. So it's got our 7th. It's got a 1st, 3rd, 7th, like in the C7 chords and so forth. And then, so here's the new note. There's our 9th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've taken a 7th chord and added a 9th to it. And that's our chord that sounds like that. And it's just called D9. Not D7 add 9 or whatever. It's a specific chord color called D9. And there she is. So D minor 9. What makes a chord minor? Flat in a 3rd. So one version is you just put your index back 1 fret. And you need to be in classical thumb position. Watch yourself for all this stuff. Of all the chords we played today, this is the one that'll probably call most for classical thumb position, meaning dead center in the back. So there we are. Or you could put your pinky on the 2nd string, and that's an octave up from the note we added, right? And phrase a minor 9 chord that way. Or you could just go and have, minor 9 without the note that thickens it up. And that's something we talked a bit about today, is anytime you put in 2 notes in the same octave, in the same register, it makes the chord sound thicker. Rather than if I just go. But that's not really a subject we're getting that into. Sidebar, really quick. So those are the types of 9th chords. There's D9. There's other ways. That's the main way you're going to encounter it. And then D minor 9, D minor 9. Have you ever played a Hendrix song that had like Purple Haze, like that chord? If you look at what we're doing there, it's got a regular 3rd and a minor 3rd, and that's why it sounds so extremely strange. We didn't talk about that during the lesson. If you don't know that chord, F it. And what do you call that chord? There's like several different ways to do it, but there we are. Just interesting. There's the sound of both a major and minor 3rd being stacked in with 7ths. Cool. Going back to D9 rather, excuse me. In our little parentheses was D6, a type of chord, 6th chord, not to be confused with D add 6, which would be taking a D and putting a B in it. We've got, I bar with my index finger, and I move my ring finger down 1 string. So I'm going 5, 4, 4, 5, 5. And that does heavily feature a 7th in there, or excuse me, a 6th in there. That's what a 6 sounds like. So there we go. And the only reason we brought that up is because it's so similar to the 9th chord shape. But that doesn't come up as much in rock. While we're at it, if you just did your D9 and took your 1st finger out of the ballpark and moved it up towards the sky, you'd have a really cool way to play a minor 7. If we look at what's up, not this or this, but just 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, as many 5s as you want. And you could also put in the flat 3rd there. But anyway, the reason we're going tangentially from D9 to that shape is that they're so similar. And we looked at abbreviated 7th chords. We did G7, where we're just going 3, skip 1, 3, 4. And then our minor 7 chord equivalent like that. that. So again, the thing is we're taking out the fifth. We're not going. We're just going. And that thins it out significantly compared to a regular seventh chord, especially when you're strumming all the strings. It makes a big difference. So there it is. Types of seventh chord, the ones that you already know. You know, a regular seventh chord, a minor seventh chord, a regular seventh chord, a minor seventh chord, minor seven played that way, major seven we talked about, angelic voices versus seventh chord crunchy dissonance, and then we had our ninth chords. Cool, and the sixth chord randomly. I believe the only other thing we talked about is 13th chords, and they're another useful chord, and they're a type of 7th chord. So we're starting with that G7 cluster right there, which is a term that people use for like 2 and 3 note little cluster. But yeah, so I'm going, you know, the same 3 skip 1, 3, 4 that we were, and then I'm going bar these 2 strings at the 5th fret. So that's G13. And if I move that up 2 frets to A13, we have another way to play it, which is going 5 with your ring, skip 1, there's your 7th, 4th fret, and then bar the 2nd. You get, they actually really sound similar, but then if you spell them out, the notes are stacked differently. Anyway, it's interesting. I think that's where we got up to, and the main trip is starting to interact with intervals more. We have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do plugged in our heads so hard that you could probably, with unlimited time, sight sing a 6th. You'd just be like, do, re, mi, fa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. You'd probably do it perfectly the first time you tried. So you can use the major scale and our ability to interact with that from growing up hearing that scale so much to have a shortcut way to sight sing, if you will, to sight sing, for instance, a 6th above the root, which is what we were just doing. So yeah, suspended chords, it might as well just be saying +2 when it says sus2, or +4 when it says sus4. And a question that naturally comes up is, what about if I want to put it in the bass, you know? And that's when we talked about how, you know, like your D/F sharp, if I was playing an A chord and I wanted to play A sus4, which is A with a G in it, putting G in the bass, that would be, you know, A/G, G over A. Cool. So there you have it, and I hope that is helpful and fun, and get down. I will wait to hear from you on next lesson. Cheers.